This is a Sis King podcast once again. My name is Michael Howe, and I am joined by
Brandon.
Lake Kevin.
There you
go. And Plank.
Yes, and today we're going to be talking about the classic Sonic games. And
the modern ones, too.
But, yes. I meant the classic
No one
Sonic
cares about
franchise.
those ones.
Sonic has always been an oddity to me. It is a very, very well-known, famous franchise, but it's not like Mario, where it's a household name or instantly recognizable. But it's like
or good.
Well, hold on, we'll get to that. It's just like at the back of everyone's mind, and it always comes up once in a while or something.
Yeah.
And it's always just so surreal. Just how I don't want to say infamous, but well, I'll say infamous. How infamous the series is. So
I just died.
In case what?
I just died. Carry on.
One down, 3 to go. Okay, let's keep going.
In case anyone here doesn't know, there are a lot of games, a lot of them. Well, we're going to be focusing on the main ones, which is, as many of you might be yelling at your screen, is not the main ones, but I'm just going to go with the Sonic Generation compilation of games.
We should talk about who's played which games so we can establish the knowledge of everyone.
That is very true.
I'll start by saying I've never played any of them at all, so I'm.
Yep. Kyle's
you'll probably hate me by the end of this video if you like Sonic.
Michael, go ahead.
I was going to go last, but I have played almost all of them. Okay, all of the main ones, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
I've played more than a few of the offshoots, but I can't say I played all of them because that's ridiculous.
I played most of the main ones, starting my childhood with Sonic Racing, actually, and then I also played Sonic 2, Sonic 3, Sonic & Knuckles, Sonic Adventures 2 Battle, Sonic Generations, Sonic Heroes, and also the Sonic Storytime series, which was really weird. Kevin.
Well, wait. When you say Sonic Racing, do you mean Sonic Riders or Sonic R?
Sonic R.
Oh. Ooh. Okay.
I have Sonic 2, Sonic 3, Sonic & Knuckles, and Sonic Adventure 2. Yeah.
I can say I've actually played enough of Advance 2 that I know that Tails is by far my favorite, and that Sonic totally sucks. So that's what I know.
Aw.
So,
just my opinion.
Oh boy.
Well, yeah. So, right now we can start off with the first three, or rather, 3 and kind of 4 Sonic the Hedgehogs. Sonic the Hedgehog was first created in 1991 for the Genesis. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 came out in 1992. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 came out in 1994. And Sonic CD came out in 1993 for the Sega CD. Yeah, the first one, in case you don't know, this series is very niche, and the fact that it's basically about it's a time trial game, but that's the whole game.
Yeah,
doing something
instead of a mini game, the entire game is about.
Yeah, but even though it's sort of niche, it was also very popular. Everyone sort of knew Sonic and loved him.
Well, yeah, but the first one started. It doesn't quite. The level design doesn't exactly fit the way it was, except for the first level, and that was because in the first level they wanted to make it so you can just rush through it, get to the rest of the game. Because the rest of the levels had a lot of waiting mechanics. Like, you had to wait.
Yeah, I remember.
Like what?
Like in Marble Garden Zone, I think it's called. The second place you go to, like you have to wait on this block as it goes across lava and things like that.
Oh, wow.
And
Yeah,
That's odd.
Yeah, that's one of the things the developers later said that they regretted in the series was any of the stop and go gameplay.
yeah.
And most players just like the run through gameplay, and that was one of the problems in Sonic Unleashed, for example, was that people really love the lots of people love the speed
Well,
parts of it.
we'll get to that later though.
Okay.
Yeah, one interesting thing I've always noted whenever I play the first Sonic is that it has interesting ball physics.
Oh, what are they like?
Basically, at any point in time, you could press down and you'd roll up into a ball, and you'd go faster downhill.
Oh, I thought you said
things
fall
like that.
physics.
No, ball physics. Like he rolls up into a ball. It wasn't until Sonic the Hedgehog 2 that you could do the old spinning up to increase your speed type deal.
Okay, so in a game that's side-scrolling, and I can imagine the levels aren't too long, probably a little bit longer than a Mario level, right? How fast does it actually feel like you're going when you're playing levels? Like, do you feel like you're going really fast, or is it just like?
In the first one, the game, as I said, feels a bit slower because of the level design. But in 2 and Sonic CD, it actually feels a lot faster.
It actually sort of depends on which level you're on and which parts you're on. Because when you're on a part that's just straight out running, like for example, say the loop-de-loop parts of what was it, Chemical something?
Chemical Plant Zone.
Yeah, Chemical Plant. When you went through that level, there were a whole bunch of speed boosters and going through loop-de-loops and all that, and you felt like you were running extremely fast, and it was really fun. And then you also got to parts in there where you were underwater, and those parts felt sluggish and slow. But those parts were fun because even though you were slow, you were still under time pressure because Sonic is the worst swimmer in the world and can't hold his breath for more than 40 seconds or so.
It's the worst swimmer in the world because he can actually
you can
drown.
never find those bubbles to get your breath back.
No. You do, but a bubble never comes up. You're standing there going, "Come on,
Okay,
come
so,
on, come
The
on!"
music was the worst thing, though.
Is there a like a gameplay mechanic behind the rings other than the fact that you're just trying to collect them all, and when you
yes.
get hit, you lose them all?
That is an interesting thing that they did in that game because it doesn't have health like it normally would. Because you pick up rings as points, as sort of like coins. But every time you get hit, you lose all of your rings, and you can pick up to like around 20 or so. But like it falls out of you, and you can pick it up. But this is the reason why they did this is so that, as far as I can tell, it's so that it's not so much that you want to, or you're really punished for getting hit. It's that you really feel the time. Well, what's the word? Time penalty for
Yeah.
time penalty for getting hit. Sorry.
Yeah. For one thing,
That's my
when you get hit, you lose all your speed. So you're
yeah.
and you have to sort of, I guess, build that up again. It just
Reaccelerate.
Yeah, and the other important thing is rings not only act as health, but there are also a few bonus uses. One is, as we're seeing it in the chat here, when you become supersonic, and that's way on in the end, you consume rings over time to hold a form that is completely not stolen from Dragon Ball Z. And then, secondly, but more important, is actually the minigames. Whenever you go through a checkpoint, At least this was in the early Sonic games. Later, there were different uses with rings altogether.
Well, okay. Actually, it's different in almost every single
Yeah,
game.
yeah. In every
'Cause
game,
in the first Sonic Adventure, in the first Sonic the Hedgehog, and in Sonic CD, you'd only get the bonus level when you get past the level with 50 rings. In Sonic 2, it was when you had 50 rings. When you hit a checkpoint, you can go into this little portal thing above it. And in Sonic 3, there were these little hidden ring things that you could go into.
yeah, but you basically needed, I think, in all of them, 50 rings on you in order to enter that level. And if you
You didn't
beat
need
it,
that in Sonic the Head. You didn't need that in
Okay.
Sonic 3, but
oh, okay. But if you beat that, then and each minigame, and the minigames were fun and cool. They weren't like just just Mario Party minigames, but they were actually difficult. In some of them,
Like what?
like
what
one,
were some of them?
the two I remember was one of them was you were basically you were basically running forward perpetually on this half pipe, and I mean coming towards you were rings and mines, and you had to avoid the mines and get the rings. But the cool thing was you could if this was this was in Sonic 2, so you could have Tails, or it was either Sonic 2 or Sonic Knuckles, but you could have Tails with you. One of the coolest things was if you jumped, then Tails would be following you, but if you jumped, then Tails would go to the front and you would go to the back, and they would switch again whenever you jumped. So you could actually make it so that the mines could hit Tails and not Sonic, and that
Nice.
was half the fun of it. And the other one that was my favorite was it was almost like a pinball machine without. Well, you were basically put in sort of a maze that you could that was made of bumpers, and you could tilt it, and there was gravity. And one of the cool things about it was that Sonic would always fall down, and you could barely control him. He would be in ball form during this minigame, and you had to maneuver towards a certain point, and if you ever fell out of the maze, and there were some cool aspects to it, like sometimes the maze had if you touched a side of it, it would disappear, so you had to be really careful, and usually you had to go through levels multiple times just to beat these things,
Right.
and then you would. And then you would, and anyway, the cool thing is if you beat these things, one, you got a ton of rings just for going through them because there were rings all over the place in the mini games. I think you also got Chaos Emerald in most of the games.
well, actually, the rings you get in the bonus levels don't go into the normal game. It's just if you got enough, you would get extra life.
Oh yeah, that's right. But anyway, Michael, you were talking about minigames.
Whoa! What just happened? Anyway,
Yeah, that was not a situation that nothing happened at all.
only been
anyways,
3
these mini games, these mini games gave you Chaos Emeralds, and if anyone who knows Sonic the Hedgehog, you probably know what Chaos Emeralds.
Yeah, I don't know.
Are it?
Explain to Kyle.
Well, excuse me. I was about to explain it. Anyways, basically, if you got all 7, and this is in most games past the first one, if you got all 7 and you have 50 rings, you can become Supersonic and fly and go super fast. And as Brandon said, it's not Dragon Ball Z. And the thing, the reason why we bring this up during rings is because you actually lose 1 ring every second. So
When you're playing as this form,
yeah, so it's another incentive to get rings,
okay,
other than getting points and getting
and
lives.
not dying.
Not dying. That's always a good incentive.
Yeah, that's kind of actually my incentive for life in general. Like right now, I don't plan on dying anytime
Yeah.
soon. That's
So Kevin, what do you think of the first Sonic games?
When you say first Sonic games, you mean what?
the
I
first
mean,
ones.
1,
Well,
2,
first-
3.
The first 3 in Sonic CD, the one we've just been talking about for the past minutes.
Well, I haven't played 1. Sonic 2 had Tails in it, which was super, 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 super awesome.
He's making shit
So
up.
Tails
He's
Yeah,
is
never
that's
better than
me.
Sonic.
Tails is, by the way, a fox with 2 tails, and he can fly with them, because that makes sense.
Yeah, he's
Helicopter.
got helicopter tails. They're so cool. Do you want to press a chick? Helicopter tails.
Yes.
So,
He's also a very good mechanic. Don't forget that.
He's a mechanic.
yep, he's an 8-year-old genius.
Oh, I do remember something about him having like.
An
Robots
IQ
or
of
something.
150 or 80 or something. But one thing that that interests me is that another thing is the boss battles. The Sonic series has always had like some really great boss battles and then the easy boss battles. And as we also see in the chat, someone wanted us to mention that Tails' real name is actually Miles Prowler.
Oh yeah, I was thinking about that. I couldn't remember if it was Tails or Sonic whose real name was Miles, and I knew like the reason why that stuck with me is because my cousin's name is Miles, and so like when I first played the game, I was like, oh, here's my cousin's name.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sonic's real name is Sonic, no last name, I think. Unless you look at the comics, in which case, no idea. But
Okay. Okay.
oh yeah,
so
yeah, his last name is the Hedgehog.
Sonic the Hedgehog. Okay, that's
Yeah.
a
The story
name.
the story behind the games. Brandon was getting into this a bit. The story behind the games is extremely complex. This evil doctor, Dr. Robotnik, or Dr. Eggman, depending on what game you're playing, is doing evil stuff.
Okay, before you go on, what's the difference between Robotnik and
Spooky.
Eggman?
Well,
nickname.
in the original games, he was called Robotnik, and then for reasons, it was changed to Eggman. Past I don't know, Sonic Adventure, I think.
I think it's based off of the shape of his body. The guy,
Otherwise, no real reason.
Absolutely not.
yeah.
Absolutely not.
But
Anyway.
yes, he's doing evil stuff, sometimes capturing animals or stuff, and
Turning him into
Sonic
robots.
has to, and Sonic stops him.
So Sonic doesn't.
Or
like
if you're playing
capturing
Sonic
animals.
CD, he captures flowers and turns them into robots. I
Why?
guess. I don't know.
'Cause-
Because science!
Because Japan.
yeah, yeah. In later
Okay,
games,
so
in later games, the
course.
story got more in depth enough to actually have its own TV show. But
Well, actually, no. It had its own TV show during that point of time. It had 2 shows at the
oh
same
yeah, that's true. I
time.
guess.
But you have to realize that
Mario
Sonic
had a
CDs
TV show too. So you can't. I mean, that's
How do
story's
we not
pretty-
talk about that?
Yeah.
Let's not talk about that.
Yeah, Sonic CD is kind of a weird game though, because that's the one where he can travel back in time by running really fast.
He runs really fast in reverse.
No, just well, the thing about Sonic CD is that it had these little signposts that said past or future, and you picked up one, and if you went fast enough, uninterrupted, you could travel to that point in time, and it would change the game or change the level layout and
Oh, that's
things
cool.
like that. That's the only game to have done that in the series, I believe. They
Only
never
game
brought
what?
that back because, well, I don't know,
You said it's the only game that what?
had that time travel mechanic.
Oh. Okay, so on the count of 3, what's your favorite character? 1, 2, 3. Kevin.
Yes, my favorite
Shadow.
character is also Kevin.
Shadow.
Shadow. Shadow,
Shadow?
shadow, shadow, shadow.
Is that unanimous?
Oh,
No, I'm going to say Knuckles actually, and it's actually based off in my childhood. We used to pretend we were Sonic the Hedgehog characters because we all played the games, and I always loved Knuckles just because he could glide, and I owned Sonic and Knuckles.
I would have been Amy. Because
He-
because I
Brandon-
like to
Amy?
hit people with hammers.
Brandon
we were-
also likes Knuckles because he likes to punch things a lot. That's why he was called Knuckles back then. He kept
No, that's
punching
not
people.
true.
Yeah, the two coolest characters for me were Tails and Knuckles, and because they could fly. The rest of them couldn't get off the ground. So,
Cream could.
see, the game I played didn't have Cream. So,
My favorite character is Blaze because she's cool and she's faster than Sonic.
I've never even heard of her.
Shadow's still cooler.
I know.
Yeah. Speaking of Shadow, how about we go on to the Sonic battle games?
Whoa, you're going a bit farther, sir.
Oh,
I'm
really?
getting there. But yes, it is time to move on to their foray into the 3D consoles with Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2. Sonic Adventure was
Yes!
made in 1998 and on the Dreamcast.
Yay, Dreamcast!
And boy, it was.
Girl,
I don't know. I don't know about you guys. I love those two.
Well, I mean, I know a lot of people have nostalgic, really good feelings about Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2, especially Sonic Adventure 2. But, in my honest opinion, I replayed them both recently. The first one's level design was... It was very much... It made everything slower than it should have been.
Well,
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I played the second one, and the second one was awesome because one, the Chow Garden.
Well, the first one had the Chow Garden too.
Okay, I didn't play the first one, but everyone loved the Chow Garden, even Kevin will admit that. And the second, and
Well,
for those
fine then. Jeez.
for those who don't know, it was
What's the Shadow Guard?
the Chow Garden.
Chow Garden.
Basically, there were these little things called chows that. How would you describe a chow? It's basically a little.
They're a
like to
little
eat
blobby thing, and it's like a pet thing, and you raise them to do sports.
Yeah, it was basically.
Oh
one
my
of the-
goodness,
Dragons.
that was in Sonic Advance 2. I remember that so
Yes,
much.
yes.
Yeah,
Th-
yeah.
There are in a lot of games past that.
Yeah, I think.
And
was
one of
one
the
of the
people in chat says that it's like Tamagotchis, and that is very true.
Yeah,
They are
Yeah,
very
they were
similar.
just like that.
yeah, but the thing was that came before that generation of like Nintendog and all those raise your own pet
Uh-huh.
things. So
Yeah, I had no
Don't
idea
say
what I was
that.
doing. Because I didn't, like... I played Sonic Advance 2 when I was, like... I didn't pay attention to the game at all when I was playing it, so I didn't know what those things were. I was just like, oh, hey, I have a thing in my backyard. But okay, anyway. I bought a TV.
yeah, the other nice thing about the Sonic Adventures games was that they were still fast, and that was really nice. And they also didn't have the problem of some of the games with borked physics. So
And Shadow.
Hold on. Let me respond to that. Sonic Adventure actually had an interesting thing. You actually could, both of them, you could play as different characters.
Mhm.
In the first one, it had, if I can recall, Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy, and everyone's favorite, Big the Cat. That's right,
Oh,
a
yeah.
fishing simulator.
Froggy.
A fishing simulator in a Sonic game.
One
Now,
thing-
Brandon, doesn't that sound fast?
I played Sonic Heroes, so yes, I know all about that.
Yes. A lot of the characters were slower and sluggish, and like I said, the level design often made Sonic not go as fast as he could.
Okay, so here's... I mean, I think this is totally
Escape from this.
tangenting, if that's a word. But
Yes.
I have a trend of making up words. From what I've heard, the 3D Sonics are very, very bad, and we don't talk about them. What are your guys' opinions?
Well. That is a tricky thing that we'll actually be getting up to later.
Okay.
About the that generation of games.
Yeah, because I want to start talking about the generations and what your guys'
They don't
Well,
exist.
Well,
They don't exist.
we'll talk about that. We'll
Yeah.
talk about that in a tiny bit. But
Yeah.
many
question,
people love Sonic Adventure 2.
Mhm.
And, well, in that game, actually, I almost forgot to mention this. They also have different characters. Shadow and Sonic.
Yeah.
So it's a
Yeah, Shadow.
palette swap of Sonic.
Mhm.
And he's the ultimate life
Well-
form, even though he's a hedgehog or something.
Great anti-hero, though.
Each you could play as evil people or the good people, and Shadow was on the evil side, Sonic was on the good side, and those are the regular Sonic fast levels. And then there was the kind of I'd say shooting gallery type deal with Tails and Eggman, where they go through on a mech and just shoot everything.
Mm-hmm.
That obviously didn't go very fast. And then there was the treasure hunt portions with Rouge the Bat and Knuckles, where you had to search for things. And again, that's not quite...
Oh.
Although you did get a lot of points if you found them fast enough. So in that way, that is more akin to the regular Sonic formula than, say,
Yeah.
the Tails and Eggman levels were.
And the shoot 'em ups were still quick and fun, which was also nice.
Yes.
Yeah, that
Uh,
sounds very odd for a Sonic game.
Yes. And you
Yeah.
went into space, although...
What?
You go into
Mhm.
space in almost every Sonic game, so never mind.
Super Shadow?
Is there a
think Super
linear?
Shadow.
I mean, not a linear. Is there like a sensical path that you go in the games, or do they just choose levels that you go into? And
It both Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2 had a coherent story, and for Sonic Adventure, it was sort of like a from different perspective type deal, where everyone would go through the same story but from different perspectives.
Mhm.
Sonic Adventure 2 was the same thing, but with each faction. Like, this point you're seeing from Sonic's view, and then the next scene is from Tails' view, the next scene is from Knuckles' view, things like that.
okay,
And then you could choose the evil side to see their viewpoint of the things.
okay, cool.
And then at the end, something special happens, and spoilers, they all have to work together.
Yes. Basically. Because
Oh
that's
my god, you spoiled the game. No,
No.
I'm never gonna
The
be able to
first
play it
stage.
again.
That game was the best stage ever. Just saying.
Of which Sonic Adventure 2?
Absolutely. When you're going downhill with the snowboard thingy in the city. Super
Escape
bomb.
from the city.
And
I
the
love
music.
that.
Yeah.
Oh my.
That.
I have an idea. How about let's all not sing?
Aw.
Okay?
Let me shut that.
Let's all not sing along.
People are going to sing in the comments.
Yeah, you everyone at home, you
Look
guys
what I
cannot
started.
sing along too.
I feel left out.
Don't worry,
Uh,
you're not left all. You're not singing along with all the rest of us, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yay! I guess.
So, with that, let us move on to the last game before the, although some would say it's part of the infamous downhilliness of Sonic games.
Catastrophe.
Yes. We have Sonic Heroes. Sonic Heroes was made in 2003 for a whole bunch of consoles. All the main ones, GameCube, PS2, and Xbox at the time. Sonic Heroes was different, much, much different from the normal go fast and do stuff deal. In that it had you had 4 different character teams, and you would play as 3 characters at the same time. Each one with a speed guy, obviously you had Sonic, a flying person like Tails, and a power person like Knuckles. And unfortunately, this is where the games became more combat based. And I think that's one of the main reasons why the series went downhill is because it went more into you're fighting these guys and it slows you down. Because in almost every single Sonic game before that, all the main normal enemies you would be able to kill in one hit. In this game, it actually gave them health bars. And this made trying to rush through levels like you would in a normal Sonic game a lot harder because it would require you to stop
And hit the person more than one time.
and hit these guys.
Yeah, another thing was that there were a lot of levels where you could fall off and insta-die. And
Oh well, I mean
Yeah.
that's true.
And needless to say, in a game where you want to be going over 80 miles an hour, that's not fun.
Yeah, these games also, this is including Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2, are also notorious for having bad cameras.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, the cameras.
Yes. If you talk about Sonic game, you'll probably hear somebody complaining about the cameras somewhere. And it is very true. The cameras, they're not very good. It's-
Well, the camera
How do you
does
mess
have
up
to
a camera
keep
on a
up Sonic,
side-scrolling
but-
game?
what? No,
No, not the side-scrolling ones.
these are 3D games.
Oh,
3D
okay.
The 3D ones are fine.
This,
I mean, sorry, the
sides-
3D ones are terrible. The 2D ones are fine.
Um,
One thing I also wanted to mention that I feel we forgot to go over is when Sonic learned how to spin dash, or not spin dash, but what's it called when you jump and then
Spin in
go
the air.
yeah, and then go straight to someone.
right.
I guess that is a spin dash.
Well, I guess we could talk about that. Yeah, in Sonic Adventure 1, they started off this thing called the homing attack, where you just jump up and then attack somebody, by, as the name would suggest, homing in yourself onto them, rather than having to just single out and jump on a person. This was clearly to make it easier for the transition from 2D to 3D, from side-scrolling to 3D gameplay. Seems like, because if you had
Dash
to,
a profit.
yeah, yeah, because it rather than having to single-handedly jump on each one, you could just rush through things by just, as Kevin said, smashing the A button, and that was again to make the combat minor, to make way for faster gameplay, and as I said before, it became more combat-oriented.
Mhm.
Speaking of being more combat oriented, in 2006, Sega decided to reboot the franchise with Sonic the Hedgehog. And it is more often known as Sonic 06. And boy, man,
Was it
no
good or
one
bad?
likes
Yeah.
this game.
Tears are coming to my eyes.
No one likes this game.
Actually,
It was
I'm pretty sure I
glitchy.
could think of some person.
Probably. It was buggy. It was glitchy. It had stupid segments. It had characters that made no sense. Its controls were terrible.
Animal
Its
human
story
love
was
interest.
nonsensical. Well,
The environments were disgusting.
the environments looked bad. It was just all around bad.
That game was so bad that I didn't even play it.
Wait, was that the one where Sonic could slow walk up a loop-de-loop and
Yes.
over?
What?
Yes.
Yeah, he could literally walk 1 mile an hour up a loop-de-loop.
Did you
and go
stop
upside
at the
down.
top of it and just stand there?
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
so basically they just magnetized you to it. They didn't actually worry about
Yes.
physics.
Yes. Because usually they have the system for doing it, and obviously that system didn't
Didn't work.
quite make it, because they changed it to a Havoc system or engine, I believe, if I recall. I can quickly look that up to see if that's true.
I would like to mention one thing about Sonic 06. When
What?
when you're fighting Silver, there was a nice little glitch
Oh,
where you would beat him. You would beat him in a fight. You would see his body on the ground, nice and beat up, and then he pulls you back into the fight. There's no point in escaping. And
Wait,
I just
what?
beat him.
Yeah,
There's a
there-
glitch in the game where Silver would pull you back into the boss fight with him after you beat him.
Wow. Was that a glitch? That
Yeah.
was a glitch?
Yeah, that was a glitch. And that wasn't supposed to happen.
Didn't that make
Wait,
the game?
is that the game where when you fell into water, it would just you would just fall into infinity or something like that?
Yeah, well,
Huh?
it's one of the games where you walk into ankles high water and you go whoa and fall through the ground.
Yeah,
I-
I've seen several glitches of that game.
I don't think any games. I don't think any of the 3D games have allowed you to go underwater without an instant non-standard game over. Unless maybe the pool. in
Sonic Adventure
Adventure
2 had swimming in it. Sonic Adventure 2 had swimming in it.
Oh yeah,
And
that's
it was awesome.
But usually, you're right. Usually, water is an instant death, but in that one, it's ridiculous because there's no edge. It's just like you're walking on a beach and you go to ankle high water and it goes ah. You fall
Wait, so
to
it
the
was a
ground.
free roam game, or was it just
No, it was actually
just a huge map?
Sonic Adventure 2, and Sonic the Hedgehog had hub worlds where you try to go find your way to the actual levels themselves. Well, actually, I'm sorry. Sonic Adventure 2 did not have that. Sorry.
I had the Chow Grinds. So.
Yeah. But they did have hub worlds, so in a way it was free roaming, but these happened on the linear levels that were more like the normal standard Sonic levels. Yes. And another Sonic game that was... Well, actually, do we want to take a break before we continue?
Let's keep going a little bit. I have some pizza arriving soon, so we could break when I get pizza.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go pretty soon too, so
All right. I guess we
we
could
could try to wrap this up, I guess, soon.
Yeah. So, next that was created was Sonic Unleashed, which is at the tail end of this
Okay, so I
generation.
just-
Yeah, Werehog.
So I'm assuming that means it was either really good or really bad again.
This is at the tail end of their period of
Yeah.
So it was
bad games.
Yeah.
It was made in 2008 for the newer consoles, which is the Wii, the Xbox 360, and the PS3. And
interesting.
yes, as you've probably heard from several people, half the levels were Sonic running around as a slow werewolf.
what?
Werehog. Yes.
Yeah.
Sonic turns into a werehog in that game.
Mhm.
Actually,
What?
interestingly enough,
What?
yes.
Yeah,
I
that
don't.
happens. He has
I don't-
stretchy arms.
He has stretchy arms. He does.
Okay,
Interestingly
so
enough,
Mr. Fantastic Were Dog
yes.
thing.
And this is actually, they actually brought up the, well, actually it was invented in Sonic Rush, but this is where they kind of started to really get into the way of boosting, which is another way to utilize rings is that you pick up rings and you hold down a button and you would go super fast.
Wait, was this before or after the Storytime games? Because they had that in the Storytime games as well.
I don't know what those are, so
Oh.
I don't know.
Oh, there was a I guess it's sort of an I think it was just before Sonic Unleashed, or it might have been just after, where Sonic did two games. One of which was Sonic and the Secret Rings.
Oh, those games.
Yeah.
That's what you're talking about. Okay, I know what you're talking about. I don't know. I don't know if that was in there. But yeah, you're right. Those games were also met with criticism.
Turns out sword fighting in a Sonic game doesn't work very well.
No.
No, go figure.
Yeah, so people actually start to like the Sonic levels, and I mean, I've played the port of it to in Generations, so I've kind of played it, and I'd have to say, yeah, the level design for the Sonic levels were actually pretty good, better than Sonic 06, certainly, because it started to go back into the speed rather than combat orientation. Although the Werehog had that.
Yeah, I played I actually played Sonic Unleashed, and one of the main problems with it was they thought, okay, let's have half speed and half combat. So they made half the level speed and half the level combat. The problem was that the speed levels were really fun and lasted about 2 minutes, and the combat levels were no fun and they lasted 15 minutes.
Yes.
And
Also, your stretchy arms didn't want to lock onto the things that you have to grab
Oh,
in
yeah.
midair over a death pit.
and you fall to your death. Yes. Yeah, speed and platforming don't go well together unless it's a 2D scroller.
Well, Yeah. So after
That
that,
drops.
and after they finally listened to the raging fans, they decided to go back to their roots and made Sonic the Hedgehog 4 in 2010. And although that was also met with lackluster reviews, it still seemed to many people like a step in the right direction, where they went back to the 2D style platforming game, and but it was still 3D, but they went back to the
So it was like a
original
3D
format of the
side-scroller?
first. Yes, basically.
Okay.
2.5D.
Yeah.
Was it a downloadable DLC thing, or was it like a $60?
Actually, yeah, it was. It was on the arcade. It was on
Okay.
Xbox Arcade, WiiWare, things like that. So it wasn't a full-fledged game. There was actually only 2 episodes out. I don't know why they're episodes.
That's odd.
I don't know. It was just a thing.
So,
But yeah, it's 2 parts of the game, I think, or something.
if it's episodic like that, does that mean that the story has not finished from that particular game, or is it?
I'm not sure. Probably not.
Did it have a
I haven't
story?
actually played the game, but I've heard and seen a lot of it.
Okay, well, now that we've covered all the platforms and all the generations, well, quote unquote generations.
Well, we missed the big one. Sonic.
Well, yeah,
Generations.
we have actually 2 more games.
Oh, okay.
If they're 2 more of the main ones. Next, we have Sonic Colors. Sonic Colors was for the Wii and it was made in 2010. Yes, Sonic Colors sported a new, unique, colors mechanic, where basically you would absorb this alien wispy thing, and you could do special powers like turn into a rocket or something. And that in this game was like the first really good modern Sonic game, if you don't consider Sonic the Adventure games modern. This was like they stepped out of the darkness of bad Sonic games, and they really started to come out. And many people really liked that game.
Okay.
It again was very much. It had portions of it that was kind of like the Sonic sections of Sonic Unleashed, but it was mostly 3D, 2D side scroll or 3D side scrolling bits to it. So it was mostly them going into the true essence of the old Sonic games, but with the new mechanic.
Is that the most recent one they've made?
No, it isn't. There's one more.
Okay. Oh, okay.
That was Sonic Generations, where they basically said, "You know what? We've been doing pretty bad. Let's take a bunch of our games, take the best levels from each of them, put them in one game, and then to back up the story, we'll have basically time travel, where classic Sonic, who's shorter, fatter, meets newer Sonic, who's basically like the version from Super Smash Brothers, taller, long legs, speaks English, and
But sorry, go ahead.
and have them run together. And it actually worked pretty well because they got the physics pretty well, and it looked good, and they also made fun of themselves.
Yeah, as Brandon was insinuating,
Yeah.
in that game they had 2 different parts of each zone, which was a classic version and a modern version. Where basically the classic version was the original Sonic the Hedgehog esque, where it was a 3D side scrolling, similar to some parts of Sonic Colors and Sonic the Hedgehog 4, and it would have a modern version which is similar to the Sonic Unleashed levels. And I have to say that this is actually a really good game, in my opinion. I know many people don't like it because of the whole boost to win deal, but I disagree. I think that it fits very well.
Boost to
And-
win? What do you mean?
boost to win is basically the idea that you just hold down the boost button and then you win.
Oh,
But
can
I
imagine how that would
disagree.
be.
Yeah,
Complex strategy.
because this game had the original idea of the Sonic level design down, where you have to explore a level in order to find the quickest way to the end, and it really felt like it was going back to that speed running sensibility. Every time you go past a checkpoint, it would say how much time you went down from your last best time.
Oh, that's
things
cool.
like that. Yeah, and like Brandon said, they took levels from all the games, for most of the games we just mentioned, and put them in there. Old bosses, old levels, and redid them with a newer touch.
Okay, so yeah, I was gonna ask. It's not just a complete. They're not just reissuing the same content. They're actually remaking old levels.
Yes, all the levels are completely remade.
Okay.
Even up to the colors one. They could have just reintroduced it, but no, they redid it.
Okay.
And I have to say, if you are interested in getting into the Sonic franchise, that is a good place to start.
The most recent game.
I suggest Sonic Adventure 2.
I actually disagree with that.
I would suggest
For the
Sonic.
first game. Sorry. Go ahead.
I would suggest Sonic 2.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I disagree with you, Kevin. I don't think Sonic Adventure 2 is a good game to start off playing Sonic with.
What's that?
Which is ironic because that's the first game I served with Sonic on. And because basically it's not that much like normal Sonic games. If you really like Sonic Adventure 2, some parts of Sonic Adventure 2, you're not going to enjoy maybe the other Sonic games that much. And that's why I think Sonic Generations would be a good game to start, because you get a taste of every single single generation of game out there.
Except City Escape. That was the best level ever.
Yeah.
But they have that level in Generations.
Never mind, I take that back.
So why do you like
Rewind.
that level so much?
It's never as good as the original, though.
Have you... It's super awesome. It has the bombest song ever playing in the background. It looked pretty, and it was really fast paced, and it reminded me of San Francisco.
So
And
it
you
was like really detailed and whatnot.
And you get to run away from a speeding giant truck.
Yes. Although in Sonic Generations it gets rocket boosters.
So I always thought it looked kind of weird when they merged Sonic and his like artistic representation with like humans.
Oh yeah, that's one thing I was gonna say with Unleashed and I forgot is the weird thing about the original the Sonic games that were considered not good is because they had these realistic humans and
and then cartoony
it
Sonic.
was weird and it had cartoony Sonic, but in Sonic Unleashed they started to have cartoony humans.
Oh, okay.
And then they
Yeah, that-
started to take out humans all around, and I like that better because it, yeah. So, and any other things you guys want to
Additions?
say? Yes, additions.
So what are your favorite games? Each one of you. Go. Michael.
Sonic Adventure 2.
Oh, okay.
Sonic Adventure 2 Battle.
Sonic Generations.
Okay. Why do you like Sonic Generations over Sonic Adventure 2? Because it seems like Sonic Adventure 2
Well,
is their
as I
favorite.
as I said before, Sonic Adventure 2 is a different game than most of the Sonic games.
Mhm.
Sonic Generations really gets into the mind frame of speedrunning, and Sonic Adventure 2 doesn't really do that. It's more of a platforming, or it's more of a 3D action adventure game more
Okay.
than anything. And well, I think Sonic Generation does it the best out of all the 3D games in terms of that original Sonic idea.
All right. Do you want to close up?
Yes. Well, you get it. Go ahead and close up.
All right. I guess from what I've heard. Oh, I guess I'll put my input. I guess from what I've heard, I'd say I don't know. You guys seem to be really big fans of Sonic Adventure 2, but it does make sense what Michael said about they kind of took all the best levels of all the games they've made and put them in one. So I'd have to say, I guess from my non-experience, I'd agree with him? Question mark. But I guess that is it for today's episode on Sonic.
Yes.
I'm Plank.
I'm Michael.
Kevin!
Kevin!
I am the super awesome guy, Kevin.
Yay!
And I'm Brandon. Thank you for listening to the Assist King podcast.
Woo!
Ending song.
My cat won't shut up. Okay, I gotta go. Bye.